Let's talk about salespeople and drama for a minute. What do I mean by drama? Let's take a look at this definition. An exciting, emotional, or unexpected series of events or set of circumstances. Assuming you actually want things to go as planned and achieve your goals, let's strike the exciting part of that definition. What we're left with is what business owners constantly explain to me when struggling to grow their sales team: emotional and unexpected circumstances. When I say drama, I mean salespeople didn't make sales. Salespeople bring on the wrong clients with the wrong expectations. Salespeople are too hard to find. Salespeople are hard to manage. Salespeople are hard to train. Salespeople are expensive. I could go on all day. I've served business owners for almost 2 decades and built my own sales teams at 2 different companies. And I can assure you that this drama is all too common. I'm pretty sure you can relate. But I'm here to tell you, it's all so unnecessary. For years, I ran a marketing agency that worked with high-performing sales teams, many of which made the various lists of fastest-growing companies. And I always took notice when I saw patterns, both good and bad. One thing that stuck out to me was just how many businesses plateau at just 1 or 2 salespeople. With these clients, there always seemed to be drama in their sales department. People missing quotas, blaming the product line or their manager when they did, and just an overall frustration with the team and the results. Meanwhile, other companies just seem to skyrocket to new levels of growth year after year, and their salespeople multiplied like rabbits. And in these companies, there wasn't any of that distracting drama. It turns out there were just 3 things that all of my best clients had in common. And today, I'm going to share with you that simple framework so that you can scale your sales team without all the drama. My name is Jeremy Pound, and you may know me from my podcast, The New Customer Machine, or from my book, 7 Habits of Scalable Sales Teams, where I summarize how the best companies are using their CRM differently than the rest of us. It's through working with these rapidly scaling companies, some of which have made the Inc. magazine list of fastest growing companies in America, that we first discovered the framework I'm about to show you today. I'm also the founder and CEO of Juicy Results, and on the internet, I'm known as the CRM guy. But really, all you need to know about me today is that I truly believe you're about to learn how to add at least $1 million in revenue to your company in the next year. And probably the best part, while having a more stable, orderly, and predictable sales team. That's what the framework did for those companies I was telling you about. And that's what we've seen it do over and over again when we've implemented it with our clients. The Scalable Sales Team Blueprint is really 3 systems that you must get dialed in to scale your company. If any one of these is missing, you're gonna hit some resistance on your path to scaling. But when you put all 3 of these systems together and really get them dialed in, that's when you can build a scalable sales team and truly get control over your company's growth. And not only does the framework catalyze your revenue growth, but it provides a framework that helps maintain harmony within your team. So let's just get real honest with ourselves right now. Do you currently have a way to scale your sales team? If you went out and hired a new sales rep tomorrow, how long would it take them to be productive or even profitable for your company? What are sales meetings like at your company today? Where are your leads coming from, and are they consistent? Can you predict how much revenue you or your team is going to bring in the next quarter, month, or even week? These are just a few of the questions that make us think that scaling a sales team is more work than it's worth. But once you have the blueprint that I'm about to show you, you're going to finally see how others are doing it. Now, after we walk through the Scalable Sales Team Blueprint, I'll share with you a diagnostic tool that we use to understand what's missing in any organization that is struggling to grow. Since you're on the webinar today, I'll tell you how to use that tool and get a free consultation with my team that will help you uncover exactly what you need to do next to scale your sales. That means that by the end of this webinar, not only will you know the 3 steps to scale your sales team without all the drama, but you'll know exactly what step to take next. Okay, just one more thing I want to tell you before I reveal the Scalable Sales Team Blueprint. A lot of people reach out to Juicy Results because they're having problems with their CRM. And I just want to take a moment to point something out that will give you context for why the blueprint is so critical, especially if you're using a CRM, which, let's face it, should be all of us, right? The default behavior we see is to buy a CRM, and learn everything it can do, and then completely change the sales process to take advantage of as many features as possible. Well, it's no wonder why so many teams hate their CRM. Our approach at Juicy Results and what we've seen scalable companies do successfully is to define the selling systems that really work for your company and then use whatever part of the technology you're adopting to scale those efforts. See, your CRM should be an investment that you can leverage, not an expense that you have to justify. So who cares if you're only using 30% of the functionality if it makes you a ton of money? Okay, let's take a look at 3 powerful processes that will scale your sales without all the drama. And in other words, what do scalable companies do differently than most of us? As we've discussed already, companies at scale get these 3 systems totally dialed in. They first focus on the areas that create leverage for scale. This is an exercise in getting the big things right rather than the small things perfect. And the first thing they get right is that they design a deliberate and effective selling system. Now, some of you might be nodding your head in agreement, but others have actually told me that they've never heard this term before. A selling system is like any other system designed to solve a recurring problem in your business. But for some reason, we find that many business owners seem to view selling as some kind of dark art, something that only gifted salespeople can do that the rest of us mere mortals cannot. That's crazy to me because if you can't reliably repeat something, then you can't systematize it, and that means you can't scale it. The best sales organizations, and even the best salespeople for that matter, have the best systems. It's as simple as that. So what does a selling system look like? Well, an effective selling system delivers new sales as predictably as an assembly line produces products in a factory. When people tell me that what they do is too complex to systematize, I remind them that Boeing can build jumbo jets repeatedly with a predictable outcome. Is your sales process really more complicated than building a jet? I doubt it. But in general, most people agree with this theory. If Boeing can create a process for safely building jets, I can systematize my customer acquisition. And so we like to use the term factory-like sales process to illustrate effective selling systems. While every prospect and opportunity certainly has nuance, there are always a clear number of milestones that have to be met to successfully make a sale. We need to focus on the consistency when designing a scalable sales process and come back to the nuance later. And just like an assembly line, a single sales process is actually just lots of smaller processes stacked up in a line. On an assembly line, you know when a part has completed the painting process, and in your sales pipeline, you should know which prospects have completed each step of the system as well. So let's take a look at a real example sales process. In this case, we'll review how a client of ours in commercial voice services designed their sales process. We want to find the most effective route between a total stranger and a new customer. Now, in CRM speak, that means turning a lead into an account. And if you're selling voice services to established businesses, you're probably taking that client away from a competitor. Since we'd have to know what features each prospect needs to provide them a quote, why not just ask them for a copy of their current bill, under the promise that we think we can save them money? It's pretty simple in this business. If we can save them enough money to make it worth their while to switch, we're probably going to win the business. So for this client, we focused on getting the prospect's current bill, sending them a proposal to match their services at a reduced cost, and then sending them a signable agreement once we had won the verbal yes. At that point, this prospect would become a full-on account. We need to define all of these decisions ahead of time before our salespeople become enamored with any one prospect if we want them to sell consistently. When designing your factory-like sales process, keep these standards in mind. To truly be factory-like, it must be a simple and repeatable process that yields consistent results. Every team member uses it every time. And it must use concrete milestones to identify where a sale is in the process. We have a boatload of tools to help you document and sharpen your process, but I want to keep this presentation under 3 hours, so I can't possibly take you through them all. Now, we've proven our process by successfully helping companies in a wide array of industries design their own factory-like sales process. We might be able to help you as well, depending on your commitment level. If you're still not convinced that a clear, effective sales process will help your team or even you sell more, let me ask you this. What's your physical and emotional state when driving in conditions like this? More importantly, ask yourself if you'd be driving full speed. If you're like me, you're probably going to be holding back just a little bit, or maybe quite a bit on the gas pedal. Now let's say you're in the same car on the same road, but these are the conditions. How are you feeling about the gas pedal now? This is how we want people selling in our companies to feel. Full speed ahead. It's clear that systems bring clarity, and clarity brings action. Now, on the flip side, we see companies experiencing crazy drama like this when they don't adopt a selling system. Do you remember all that drama I was talking about in the beginning of the presentation? Well, this is what companies who fail to adopt a selling system say to me often. It's hard for anyone new to the company to produce a sale. There's a need to compete for experienced sales talent. There's no way to measure or optimize the sales process to dramatically increase the close rate. But you don't have to worry about those problems anymore because now you know. Having a repeatable selling system that is both effective and programmed into your CRM is going to eliminate all that drama. So what's next? The second part of our scalable sales team blueprint is a sales management system. What the heck is a sales management system? I'll be glad to show you in detail. But first, let's take a look at the common drama that we see companies facing when they don't have such a thing in place. Maybe you can relate to this. Do you ever find yourself thinking that onboarding a new salesperson is time-consuming and hard work? Maybe it's not even worth it. You feel like it takes months or even a year to tell if a salesperson will be successful at our company? Internal sales meetings are painful and unproductive. And maybe most importantly, do you ever think that you're overpaying your sales team? Do any of these sound like you? If they do, then you might want to take a look at the performance pyramid. The pyramid is a bottom-up approach to stripping the drama out of your sales department. And the good news is, if you have a selling system, you're already 1/4 of the way there. So here's that sales process map again. This means that it's programmed into your CRM and you're segmenting your leads, opportunities, and nurturing systems, and that you can count on it to work consistently for you, which brings us to the second level of the pyramid, consistency. I'm talking about every member of your sales team using the same tools, same processes, and even the same language. Only with master level consistency will your pipeline be this organized. And a consistent pipeline is a system that inevitably generates new customers with predictable reliability. You'll no longer think about John being a potential customer and wonder what you can do to make that a reality. Instead, you'll know that John has been matched with the right product and is ready for a proposal. You'll know that Sandra is qualified and ready for you to recommend a solution to her problem. Your company's sales meetings will be more effective and in higher definition because everyone is speaking the same precise language. When you review each salesperson's pipeline this way, you'll know where the rep should be coached. Is one rep underqualifying every prospect and ramming them through to the proposal process, where 95% of them linger to his confusion? Or is another rep losing too many prospects on the first call? We need to set our CRM up in a way that illustrates the bottlenecks and the velocity of each sales rep, even if that's just you right now. Only then can we isolate the constraints and eliminate them one by one, which can multiply your revenue. You're also going to trust your forecasting a heck of a lot more than you do without this level of consistency. So all around, it's easy to see how important consistency is to managing and optimizing the sales function. So you may be wondering how to keep your team, and yourself for that matter, accountable with these new systems. And that brings us to the next level of the performance pyramid, which is real-time KPIs. In case you're not familiar with the term, KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator. These are specific metrics that actually help us predict the future. What I've learned about anything in business or competition is that winners keep score. And that's not just who won the championship last year. Winners track the score of every game, the time of possession, the yards per carry, etc. This is the only way I know to take performance from abstract to absolute. Okay, so back to KPIs. The KPIs that we care about are leading indicators. You see, sales made and deals closed, the metrics that most business owners track, are lagging indicators. If we only track lagging indicators, we might have to keep a salesperson for 6 months or a year before we know if they're going to work out. But leading indicators gauge performance on a daily or weekly cadence. There's nowhere for poor performers to hide when we spotlight leading indicators. So if we ask ourselves, what activities can we take to generate revenue in our business? We can easily identify the KPIs we should be measuring. Again, this is much easier once you have a factory-like sales process in place. See, there's a method to this entire framework. Now, pay attention because this is where we really suffocate the drama in any organization. If we do this right, each sales rep is going to have a scorecard made up of a few key activities that drive sales, automatically calculating right in their CRM. You get to decide what the ideal day or week looks like, and then the technology will show them visually when they are on and off track. That's it. It's really that simple. If they're using the CRM correctly, and if you take the time to think this through, it all comes together. The key points here are to keep the scoreboard focused, measurable, simple, and most importantly, generated by the CRM. Manual record keeping should be avoided to make sure no one can use busyness as an excuse for not having accurate numbers. And not only is this going to simplify how you manage progress in your sales team, this will change the way you recruit, interview, hire, and train new salespeople. Because now we know what a successful salesperson will actually do at our company, so we're going to be able to make better decisions about who to hire. And each of these individual scorecards are going to roll up into one complete scoreboard. This is the kind of clarity that you need in your business to have predictable revenue and scale without fear. Can you imagine what kind of business you could be running with this level of clarity and insight? I can't imagine having it any other way. And honestly, salespeople love it this way. A true top performer loves to be measured, and we all want to know we've had a good day or week at work. One of the best salespeople I've ever had in my companies literally said to me that she could finally enjoy her weekends because she had clear targets each week. So satisfying feeling to know exactly how much work had to be done to call the week a success. The capstone of the pyramid is your team's rhythm. How often do you meet, share numbers, measure progress, and recalibrate? Drama-free sales teams have a simple schedule and they stick to it. Most people are familiar with sales quotas, which is basically just how much revenue we expect our salespeople to generate each month or quarter. But we also recommend activity quotas. In other words, how many calls, demos, or proposals should your sales reps be generating each day or week? Once you have those in place, you'll know how often the team should be meeting and measuring progress. Get your arms wrapped around these 4 layers of the performance pyramid, and you'll watch the drama and the underperformers vanish from your company. That brings us to the final piece of the puzzle. What other system is required to build a scalable sales team? If you want to scale, you're gonna need consistent lead generation. There's no way around it. You see, if our sales process is like an assembly line that reliably produces results, then lead generation is like the loading dock where raw materials are consistently delivered on a schedule day after day. It doesn't take a degree in engineering to know what will happen to a factory that stops receiving new material. It's only a matter of time before they have to shut the line down and people run out of things to do. But I don't want you to dismiss this part of the framework just because it's so obvious. Our ultimate goal is to have a reliable system where X input always equals Y output. Something like $100 in advertising always generates 3 new customers, or 100 calls always equal 6 new accounts. A good lead generation system is both a filter and a magnet. When focused on a targeted audience, it attracts the right prospects while either repelling or seeming invisible to everyone else. This is more important than ever since most online advertising is pay-per-click in nature. We waste a lot of money when the wrong people are clicking on our ads. We've seen companies use tools like this webinar, a white paper, free evaluations, or some other helpful offer to generate quality leads at a scalable level. For example, a property management company might offer a free rental analysis to potential landlords, while a marketing consultant might offer a free video course to business owners on how Facebook advertising works. We've used webinars to successfully attract and qualify leads for years. Think about it. Who is going to sit through a 30 or even 60-minute webinar on how to use their CRM? Someone who has a clear need and a high interest level in solving that problem. Now, that's the kind of prospect I want to be on the phone with. I want you to measure your lead generation system not only by how many new leads it creates, but also by how qualified they are. As you scale, it's a balancing act of simultaneously generating more leads while working to reduce the number of unqualified or misfit people that your sales reps have to spend their time on. At some point, I can assure you that the bottleneck will be your best salesperson's time. An effective lead generation system attracts your target market, it repels everyone else, it can qualify the prospects for you, it sets the buying criteria, and most importantly, it should put you in the driver's seat for the entire sales process. Now, if you're using inbound methods like paid advertising or organic traffic, for example, promoting a webinar or some kind of analysis tool, then the activities that drive success are qualifying and convincing. So your sales reps would be focused on those activities that advance the sale, and their scorecard would reflect that. But if you're using outbound methods such as calling, emailing, and texting to set up demos or appointments, your sales rep would be focused on activities that open new doors. We'd measure things like the number of consultations or webinar attendees that each person generated. Often, in mature organizations, we find both inbound and outbound lead generation systems working concurrently. But I encourage you to start with one until you can use it to reliably generate predictable revenue. Then you can diversify. So what kind of drama might you find if you're lacking in a lead generation system in your business? Well, you might find that salespeople don't have enough to do, which makes it hard for you to want to hire more salespeople. You might find that sales targets are not being met. And you might not be sure when to fire an underperforming rep because there's so little volume going through the system, you don't know if it's you or a lack of opportunity. So there it is. Now you know the Scalable Sales Team Blueprint. 3 powerful systems to scale your sales without all the drama. Pretty simple, right? Can you see how this has the potential to add at least $1 million in revenue to your sales in the next year while giving you a more stable, orderly, and predictable sales team? We're confident it can because we've seen it work for our clients over and over again. So why not implement this framework in your company? My guess is that you might be feeling a little overwhelmed right now. While the 3 systems are simple to understand, it can take some real work to get them all in place. But the outcome is predictable revenue without all the drama. So isn't that worth the effort? Well, if you're not sure where to start or how to pull this off, I might have a solution for you. We're offering a complimentary consultation with anyone who attends this presentation. Essentially, we need to get clear on 3 things. 1, what are your goals? Where do you want to be? And what does success look like for you? Or 2, where are you now? We have a simple diagnostic tool to identify what's in place and what's holding you back from scaling. And 3rd, what you should do next. If clarity and action are what you seek, I strongly recommend you sign up for this consultation today. Just go to juicyresults.com/talk and request an appointment with one of our experts. I promise you, there will be no high pressure sales tactics, just focused work on your business. If you're on the fence, let me ask you this. Just give yourself permission for a moment to visualize what your life would look like if this worked for your business like it has for so many others. What if your company had a team of professional salespeople building your business every day? What if your company had predictable revenue that grew every month? And what if your company could self-fund growth and every new sales hire meant more cash in the company? That could be you if you build a scalable sales team. Well, we can't help everybody, but we definitely have a solution for a very specific type of person in a very specific situation, which I suspect might just be you. The Scalable Sales Team Blueprint was proven through and designed for companies with a phone-based sales team. They're typically between revenue in the $1 to $10 million range. They have an active goal of doubling revenue the next 1 to 3 years. That's you, then I urge you to consider taking the next step. We try to make the discovery process as simple as possible. As I mentioned before, the next step is to schedule a consultation with one of our experts. On that call, we're going to focus on your business goals, where you're currently at, and help you isolate the most effective next step to scaling your own sales team. In addition to the characteristics we mentioned on that last slide, the clients we work with best are decisive and take bold action, especially when they're clear on how to move forward toward their goals. If this is you, and you think we might be able to help, and I not only invite you, but I urge you to take the time to explore how much faster you can scale your sales team than you ever thought possible. Just go to juicyresults.com/talk and schedule your consultation right now. Thanks for showing up today and sticking with us until the end. If you made it this far, I'm convinced that you have the resourcefulness and drive to build your own scalable sales team. Built this entire company with the purpose of helping you make that a reality as fast as possible, and to save you from the pain and mistakes that I made for over a decade of putting up with all that drama in my companies. This is definitely your chance to break through, and I really want you to appreciate that. All you have to do is go to juicyresults.com/talk and request your consultation. Thanks again, and all the best on scaling your sales team and expanding the impact your company has on the world.